I look forward to our lunch together, too, tomorrow. Bye-bye, Steve.
Hi.
Hi. I hope I didn't wake you.
I couldn't sleep. I was worried about you.
Why?
Why? Marcy, it's almost 1 o'clock in the morning. I thought you were just going out for a quick meeting.
I know, but Lucinda got all wound up, and then Gavin stopped by our table. I tried to make a graceful exit, but Lucinda just wasn't ready to leave, so I asked Steve to drop me off, which he did.
I just heard you making plans for lunch tomorrow.
Right. Steve and I are going to be working pretty closely together, so I agreed to lunch. And maybe I can help him get up to speed.
Yeah, well, I'd feel a lot better if you weren't eating in his hotel suite.
How long were you eavesdropping?
I wasn't eavesdropping.
Then why didn't you say something?
Hey, look, I'm not exactly dressed for company. You know, I thought you'd be coming home alone.
Listen, Link, you're just going to have to understand that I'm going to be working with a lot of men at Worldwide. Clients, too. And I'm not used to having to explain my comings and goings to anybody.
Hey, I'm not just anybody. I'm your husband.
Yes, but you have been known to not trust women. Listen, I'm not Julie, and I'm certainly not Connor, and I'm not about to jump into bed with somebody to get ahead in my career. Tonight was just one of many of the business meetings I'm going to be having. And if you can't get used to this, you're going to drive both of us crazy.
Barbara, I had no idea that you were here. That's obvious from what I just heard. What did you mean when you said that Paul would never forgive you? Hutch and I were just talking about something that happened before Paul left last summer. I thought it was you who got hurt because Paul wasn't over Emily. That is what you told me to. That's only part of it. Well, I really would like to hear the other part. I remember a little conversation that we had, Tess, when I told you that I would not tolerate any lying. I wasn't lying.
I think that I had better go.
I think that's a good idea, Hutch.
Remember what I said. Meg was right.
I'll tell you something, Tess. I never really bought that little story of yours, and since my son will not discuss the subject, I suggest you start by telling me the whole truth right now. I need the truth, Tess. I need to know that I can trust the people that are close to me. I have lived with so many lies for so many months right now that I can't tolerate it anymore. Do you understand me? So I want to hear the whole story right now.
Shauna, I thought you were in Canada on business. What happened here?
I was in Canada on business. There's been an accident, Gavin.
What kind of accident?
There was a fire in the lab. The whole place went up like a powder keg. Everyone got out. Some people had injuries. I got treated at a hospital in Toronto. Then I got a flight to Oakdale so I could report to you.
Oh, I had no idea, but what are you doing here?
Well,
I asked him to come down here to answer some questions, and we were just about to begin, so would you mind waiting in the squad room?
Oh, no, of course not. I just wanted to get the new information on Nicole.
The French medical examiner has confirmed that Nicole was murdered in much the same fashion as Philippe Van Doorn.
Butterball turkey cold cuts. Any way you slice it, they're delicious. Butterball ham, Butterball bologna, or Butterball smoked turkey breast. They're up to 98% fat-free and all Butterball. So any way you slice it, it's
delicious.
Socks with dirty white. Don't reach for the bleach. Put it back on the shelf. 'Cause this detergent whitens all by itself. Power bleach whitening in just one box. It works so hard, they call it the Ox.
Ultra Oxidol doesn't need a separate bleach. It has a powerful bleaching system that gets socks this dirty, brilliantly white. And the Ox loves color.
Don't reach for the bleach. Grab a box of the Ox.
Detergent that whitens without separate bleach.
I hate having to clean twice. Spray cleaner for the grease, then glass cleaner for the streaks.
Don't clean it twice. Cinch it once. New Cinch from Spick and Span. It's the first cleaner that gets both the grease and the streaks. Glass cleaner can't always get the grease, and spray cleaners can leave streaks. Either way, you'd have to clean twice. But New Cinch gets the grease without leaving streaks, even on glass. Don't clean it twice. Cinch it once.
For painful gas, which would you choose? Your antacid or Gas-X, the tablet made for gas? It's extra strength, 100% simethicone to fight gas faster. Faster than your antacid. Fight gas right with Gas X.
I was so convinced that Nicole took her own life because she was so despondent over Philippe's death. Do you have any suspects?
The police are searching her apartment. They hope to find some answers there.
I don't think they'll come up with anything there.
Really, why do you say that?
Well, because Nicole was in the habit of taking long walks along the Seine at night. I told her it was dangerous, but she never listened to me.
Well, they've ruled out robbery as a motive. Her money and jewelry wasn't missing.
Who could have killed her?
Well, that's what we're trying to find out.
She was supposed to fly back to Oakdale today.
Really? Well, she never told me about that.
Well, she phoned Darryl yesterday and said she had some information that might lead us to Philippe's killer and Carolyn's as well. Darryl immediately sent his jet. Unfortunately, she didn't live long enough to catch that flight.
Look, Gavin, we really should get back to Sean.
Oh, yeah, sure, of course. I'll wait outside. Oh, Sean, I want to speak to you when you're done.
Sorry about the interruption.
That's all right. I'm just real sorry to hear about Nicole.
You knew her?
Well, not really. I met her once or twice through Gavin.
Look, let's get back to what we were talking about. You say it's standard practice for Kruger execs to sign the expense receipts while traveling with Gavin.
That's right.
Why is that?
I don't know. I always thought it was one of Gavin's personal eccentricities, you know, like avoiding photographers.
Yeah. Well, look, I know that you're tired and exhausted, but I really just have one more question. Did you know that Gavin tried to take over of DeWitt Grains and Cereal a few years back?
Well, I heard the rumor, and I'd heard that it, didn't succeed. I guess Gavin was pretty disappointed about it. There's one thing I can tell you about him is that he hates to lose.
Well, we know that Arthur was feeding Gavin inside information during that period.
Well, listen, you know right where Arthur is right now. Why don't you ask him? He knows more than I do.
We can't. Arthur has some strange allegiance to Gavin. And you know what? That reminds me, you ought to call the warden and check Arthur's condition.
His condition? What do you mean?
He was stabbed in prison tonight.
Listen, thanks a lot for coming in. That's all for now. How long are you going to be in Oakdale?
I don't know. It all depends on Gavin. Last assignment he gave me was in the middle of the night, so I only had a couple of hours to pack a bag and get on a plane from Zurich to Toronto.
Just a couple of hours? Is that common?
Yeah, for Gavin it is.
And wait a minute, is that the same night that you faxed the receipts to Jade?
Yeah, I think it was. Why?
Nothing. Just curious. Thanks a lot for coming in.
Listen, I want to talk to Franny and her husband.
Oh, they're in Mac's office, probably. It's just down the hall, opposite the squad room.
Thanks a lot, Margo.
So, Arthur is recovering in the infirmary.
Oh. Detective Hughes. Yeah, Jason, it's another long night. Hal told you what?
Everything was just so new to me when I came here, Aunt Barbara. Living in this house, the chance to go to college, the dream come true, and then all of a sudden, the most important thing in my life was never having to go back to Alva.
And you saw my son as some kind of insurance policy?
Yeah. I'm not proud of him. But Paul, he was really nice to me. We started out as good friends. I really wanted to fall in love with him. I really did. And then Hutch showed up, and my feelings for Hutch were very different from what I felt for Paul. And I tried to fight that. Well, Paul could give me more than Hutch could. And then Paul overheard Hutch and me talking about it at the pond, and he was furious. And I made him so upset that he left, and he didn't even talk to me before he left town.
I see. Well, Tess, I wish you could have trusted me enough to tell me the truth back then. I might have understood. Lord knows I've made enough mistakes.
You don't hate me then? You'll send me back to Alva?
I have a lot to think about. I think you should go upstairs and get ready for bed.
Okay, well, listen, whatever happens, between us and all this, it's one thing I've learned is that, Hutch was right. I feel so much better after telling you the truth. And Barbara, what you said earlier, About not knowing who you can trust anymore? Does that include Gavin?
Tess, I have a lot of things I need to sort through. I think it's best if you go upstairs to bed.
Okay, well, if you need me for anything, just ask. Good night.
Gavin may very well have engineered the attempt on Arthur's life. The same way he may have engineered the deaths of Philippe, Nicole, and Carolyn.
I'm sorry to call you so late, but after I took Tess home, I stopped by the Strict Coast station on East Avenue, and now I can't get the darn car started.
Well, look, you're only around the corner, so why don't you walk over and I'll give you a lift home?
Are you sure? I don't want to put you out.
You won't be. I'll see you in a bit.
I know you've got this problem when it comes to trusting women, but I'm not Julie, and I'm certainly not Connor. I'm not about to jump into bed with somebody to further my career. Tonight was just one of many business meetings, so you'd better get used to it, or you're going to drive both of us crazy. Link? Well, the shower made me feel a lot better, and I just wanted to tell you that I'm sorry for saying what I said earlier. I don't know, I guess I'm just tired and nervous about my new responsibilities, and... Hey, let's face it, I'm just not used to being married and having to explain everything.
That makes two of us. Here, sit down. I was just thinking about what you said. You're right about me having trouble trusting women. And maybe I did overreact when that guy brought you home tonight.
Don't you know that I could never, ever look at another guy as long as I have you to come home to? But if it'll make you feel better, I'll call Steve right now and tell him I want to change our lunch to the dining room.
No. You don't have to change your plans on my account.
I appreciate that.
Listen, would you mind if we had Dad and Hutch and Emma over for dinner tomorrow?
Well, maybe we should hold off on that just for a little while until I get my schedule, okay? But right now, I want to take you in the bedroom so that I... Oh, look at that bee.
I didn't get a chance to tell you. Hutch called. He had car trouble, so I told him to come by here.
I'm not dressed to take me anywhere. I'll just hitchhike, man. Don't worry about it.
I'll hit you over the head. Get in here.
Doing what arm?
Look, after I hung up, I realized that it makes a lot more sense if you bunked here tonight. This way I can go with you to the gas station in the morning and get the story on Dad's car.
Oh, I don't want to impose on you and Marcia like that. Are you sure?
Don't worry. Are you kidding me? Hey, we're all family here, right? I'll get you a pillow and a blanket, and then we're all set.
Thanks, Link. Are you sure you don't mind?
Sure. As your brother said, we're all family, right?
Thanks.
Which fabric softener really softens best? Let's find out.
One.
Only one
Two.
left towel's fluffier,
2.
thicker,
3.
softer.
4.
So, which softener gives you thicker, fluffier softness? Downy. Only Downy. Put it to the test. Downy softens best.
Come on in to Downey.
Hey,
Lifesavers holes who make him rave. The huge taste of Lifesavers candy. In cool mint and wild fruity little bites. Lifesavers Holes candy. Get what you've been missing.
Kids, could you please go down to the freezer and bring up some Vandy Camps for dinner?
Sure, Mom.
Vandy Camp's fish. They taste fresh because they're frozen fresh. Then they're dipped in crispy breadcrumbs or golden batter for a taste your family will love.
For dinner?
Once they catch them.
Oh, you're welcome. Kids, could you go down to the freezer and grab some more?
Vandy Camps, the freshest ideas in frozen fish.
I won't wear anything without Cross Your Heart, because Cross Your Heart has crisscross shaping, so I always look better, whatever I wear.
Playtex Cross Your Heart Bra.
Don't wear anything without Cross Your Heart.
From Playtex.
The fit that makes the fashion.
One man out of control.
Pierce? You're next.
One shot in the name of revenge. And one bullet no one will forget when Knots Landing returns tonight.
When Maurice and Holling fulfill a friend's last request, his widow has her own request.
Got a fine behind on you.
The Call of the Wild Thing, all new Northern Exposure Monday.
So anyway, I explained to him that it was standard operating procedure for Kruger executives traveling with you to sign all the receipts.
And is that all they asked?
No, frankly, they wanted to know if it was true that you had made an attempt to take over DeWitt a few years ago.
And what did you say?
Well, I told them the truth, that I'd heard the rumor, but that obviously it didn't succeed.
Now, this is strictly between us. It never did get off the ground. I mean, I had a few conversations with Arthur Claiborne, and he thought it was an auspicious time, but then I just soon realized it was just a personal vendetta against Darrell Crawford, who was CEO at the time.
And I was shocked to hear about Claiborne tonight.
What, that he's in prison?
Gavin, Claiborne was stabbed in prison tonight.
What? What do you know about it?
Well, I just heard that he survived it, that's all.
Oh, my goodness, poor Arthur. Well, I know he had a lot of enemies with connections. Listen, can you come by my suite when you're done here?
Gavin, do you think it could wait till morning?
No, we have a lot of things to discuss. For instance, I know you were in Hawaii last April with Jade, and it is imperative for the sake of my entire business that no one else knows.
How did you find out about it?
Jade told me.
Speaking of which, do you know how I can get in touch with Jade?
No, I don't. We had a silly little argument. Listen, I'm going to go talk to Tom and Margot about Arthur, and then I will wait for you in my suite. Tom, Margot, listen, I just heard about Arthur. What happened?
He was stabbed. You didn't see his attack.
Well, what's his condition?
He's in the prison infirmary. We expect him to recover.
Oh, good. Oh, boy. Well, listen, if there's anything I can do to help with Nicole's arrangements, just let me know.
Sure.
You seem more upset about Arthur than he did Nicole.
Of course he was. Arthur survived.
The breakup with Andy was pretty tough on Courtney.
Well, it's been rough on him, too. I hope that they find their way back together.
Yeah, that would be nice. Give me a connection with the Hughes family.
Well, I hope you and Courtney get a chance to stop by the house sometime before you leave.
Yeah, I'd like that. I just don't know my schedule yet. I'm on my way to Gavin to talk about that right now, as a matter of fact.
At this time of night?
Yeah, you think I'm on time and a half yet? Listen, I hope the police are finally able to solve your case for you.
Thanks, Sean.
Thanks, Sean.
Yeah. Good night.
Bye-bye.
Why is it I get the feeling that he still regrets losing me?
Honey, please. I can't speak for Sean, but I don't have a single one.
Tom, what's happening with Karen Martell?
Well, she worked with a police artist on a sketch of a man who came into the bar the night that Frank Wendell was murdered. She told us a few minutes ago that when the man left the bar, her husband went in the back room. She overheard him on the phone talking to someone, and he said that he was sure that Frank Wendell was murdered because of a journal that he had in his possession.
It had to have been Carolyn's. It had to.
Look, I have told you everything I know. I have worked with your artist. Now either charge me or release me.
We are not going to do either of those things until we get the sketch back and you tell us if it's a good likeness of the man you saw that night.
But I told you I only saw the guy briefly from across the bar, and he had his hat pulled down and his collar turned up.
And a few minutes after he left, you overheard your husband on the phone talking about some journal, which he felt was the reason Frank Wendell was murdered.
Right.
Did you hear your husband mention the names Arthur Claiborne, Darrell Crawford, Gavin Kruger?
No, I don't think I heard him mention any of those names.
Well, did you ask him who he was talking to?
Yeah, but like I said, Willard told me the less I knew, the better.
Well, he was right. See, we believe that journal was Carolyn Crawford's. taken during the break-in when she was killed. Now, since then, 4 other people have been murdered. Frank Wendell, your husband, Philippe Van Dorn, his girlfriend, Nicole. And all of them, we believe, had information on Carolyn Crawford's murder.
What about Billy Lambert?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, by all means, send them up. Mrs. Martell, what I'm trying to say is if there's anything that you're holding back to protect yourself or somebody else, don't. Because it didn't protect the others.
Now, one more time. Does the name George Stewart mean anything to you?
It sounds a bit familiar, but it's a fairly common name.
Hello, Karen.
Can your toothbrush stand up to a dental examination? It can if it's Colgate Plus. The Plus is the unique diamond-shaped head, specially designed to fit your whole mouth. Helps clean away bacterial plaque even way, way back. Check up on the Colgate Plus toothbrush, because an A-plus smile starts with clean, white teeth.
I love to see you smile.
Colgate Plus, because your smile was meant to last a lifetime.
Waffles, Mom?
Oh, not for me, dear, no.
They're delicious.
Yes, but look at all that syrup, dear. A moment on the lips, a lifetime on the hips.
Come on, Mom. Live dangerously.
Living dangerously isn't what's kept me the same size as the day I was married.
The syrup's delicious. Really rich and mapley. Oh, and it's light.
Light?
Log cabin light syrup, Mom. Half the calories.
Log cabin syrups. Irresistible maple flavor for more than 100 years.
My gynecologist said she'd been through it, and you couldn't cure a recurrent vaginal yeast infection fast enough. Gynolotrimin. She said nothing cures faster or more effectively. It brings me early treatment and early cure. Gynolotrimin. Early treatment, early cure.
The folks who make sugar would like you to spend the next few seconds reading the back of your artificial sweetener package. Interesting, huh?
Pure natural sugar, a sweetener only nature could make.
Imagine you're Roger Thorpe, and someone's made an offer you can't refuse.
I want you to get your whore away from my son.
You've got everything to gain.
I don't care what it costs.
So what would you do? What will he do? Just try me. Try Guiding Light weekdays.
Scorch, TV's hot new comedy, premieres Friday.
Listen, this is really nice of both you guys, but I still feel like I'm imposing.
Will you stop? Look at it this way. You're a first overnight guest. And once we get a bigger place with a guest room, you're welcome to stay over anytime you're stuck in town.
Thanks.
You're welcome. Sweetheart, can I get you anything?
No, I'm just gonna go get some sleep. Okay? Have a little star on top.
Okay,
I'll be in a minute. Thanks, Marcia. Good night. I get the feeling she's not too happy I'm staying here.
You're wrong. Family is very important to Marcy.
Speaking of family, I had a long talk with Dad the other night, and I know that your mom and he have been separated since before I was even born, but well, I asked him why they'd never gotten a divorce, and he said it was because your mom wouldn't go along with it because of her religious beliefs.
Yeah, she doesn't believe in divorce. But Dad shouldn't let that stop him. I mean, he certainly has grounds.
See, that's sort of the way that I saw it. So I was wondering if sometime, you know, if you felt it was right, you could maybe talk to her about it.
Yeah, okay. When the time seems right, I'll give it a shot.
Right.
Listen, on that note, I'm going to turn in. I'll see you in the morning, okay?
Good night, Link. Thanks, man. Oh, can I use your phone to call Tess?
Sure.
Thanks.
All right, have a good night.
You too. Hi, it's me.
Hey, did you get home okay?
Not exactly. The car broke down when I stopped for gas.
Oh, no. Do you want me to come and pick you up?
No, it's fine. I called Link, and he asked me to stay over at his place. But listen, how did it go with your Aunt Barbara?
Well, I took your advice, Hutch. I told her everything. It's the hardest thing I've ever done in my life.
I'm so proud of you. How'd she take it?
Well, she wasn't exactly thrilled, but, she didn't kick me out of the house.
Don't worry, there's no way I'm gonna let her send you back to Alva.
What the heck is this thing? Hush, there's this strange box by my bed with these numbers on it. I wonder what this is.
Oh, I can't make an enemy of Gavin. He knows the truth about Jennifer. I'm sure he'd tell Daryl he's her father. I want you to take this back.
I don't understand. I thought you said you lost it in Switzerland.
I lied to you. I was afraid to tell you that I'd taken it off. I can't marry you, Gavin, because I just don't trust you.
Oh, well, I find that strange, considering all of our talks about trust.
There were just too many things. I felt like such a hypocrite these last weeks inventing reasons why you couldn't spend the night.
Yeah, well, I want to know what these things are.
I can't tell you.
Well, I'm afraid you're just going to have to.
Nicole said that she feels you're responsible for Philippe's death, and now suddenly she's dead, too.
But you think that I'm responsible for what happened to Nicole and Philippe?
Yes, I do. And so do the police.
My God!
Here.
Oh, yes, your timing is just perfect, since Barbara told me she can't marry me because she doesn't trust me.
She's got every right not to.
Oh, you are a fine one to talk, Crawford. Considering I know about the night you spent with Barbara in Rome.
What?
Yes, and I know something else you don't. Jennifer's yours.
Daryl, what is he talking about?
I never wanted you to find out like this. It's true. Barbara and I did have a night together in Rome. But it was a long time before I met you, and he's lying about Jennifer because Barbara told me he's the father.
But she lied. There are tests to prove it.
Barbara, I'm your sister. Please tell me this isn't true.
I'm glad you didn't tell the police that you were in Hawaii last April with Jade. Listen, I was still in shock when they asked me about those receipts, and they told me that they had to do with the investigation of Carolyn Crawford's murder.
Oh, they're just grasping at straws. You know, they're ready to arrest anyone that ever knew Carolyn. But you must never, ever tell them that you were there, or I could find myself in very serious trouble for absolutely no reason whatsoever.
Listen, Gavin, if the police...
Oh, they won't. They already questioned you, and you said nothing. Now, the reason that I asked you here tonight is that I'm looking for someone to take over the workload for me now that I've asked Barbara to marry me. You see, that's what I couldn't get into at the station. Jade and I had an argument about that because she thought that she deserved the job herself. Now, I'm going to want to cut back on my travel once I'm married. But for a young, single man such as yourself, it's the opportunity of a lifetime. I want to make you senior vice president.
Listen, Gavin, there must be 30 or 40 people with seniority over me.
Yes, there are. But you are the man I want. Now, there will be stock options, a handsome salary, and all the perks that go with it. Hold on just a minute, please. Yes. Yeah, hold on just a minute, would you? Listen, I'm going to take this in the bedroom, all right? Now, we'll talk about the promotion when I come back out. Will you hang that up as soon as I pick up, please?
Sean, what happened to you?
There was an explosion at Terrell's experimental division. I just had the bad luck to be there at the time.
I don't think luck had anything to do with it.
Meaning?
I don't think that explosion was an accident.
But to me, when a woman sweats, it just isn't sexy.
Of course a guy's gonna sweat sometimes, but when you're close, who wants a guy that smells?
Arid Solid bites odor, and the wetness ordinary deodorant sticks can't.
I trust Arid.
I put off going to the doctor. But this burning stomach kept waking me up at night. Finally, I just went. I can imagine how relieved I was when my doctor said Mylanta. He said I had heartburn. And heartburn like mine needed a strong medicine.
Mylanta is strong medicine, strongly recommended. In fact, Mylanta is the antacid doctors recommend most.
My doctor said Mylanta.
We've added the leading cough suppressant to the proven cold relief of Alka-Seltzer Plus to relieve your cold and cough at the same time. New Alka-Seltzer Plus cold and cough medicine in the purple box. 2 kinds of relief from only 1 medicine.
I want to lose weight, but which one? I don't know about all these, but Dynatrim works for me. How much have you lost? Well, this is what I looked like before. You did lose weight. 10 pounds in 1 month. And Dynatrim is so thick and filling, it helps me lose weight without feeling hungry. Come on. Really? With Dynatrim, I feel full, satisfied. And you're still losing weight without feeling hungry.
The Dynatrim Weight Loss Plan fills you up to trim you down.
We'll continue with part 2 of As the World Turns in just a moment. Do you know where Fish City is?
Why don't you tell us what you know?
It's under the sea, where you'll catch the hottest action, slimiest crooks, and the cop that keeps these waters clean.
Tell me something I don't know.
You got a cornflake in your teeth.
Don't miss Fish Police starts right here, Friday night.
I'll be there.
This is CBS.
The Boys Town National Hotline is for kids who are being abused, running away, using drugs or alcohol, or have other serious problems.
The Boys Town National Hotline. If you're a kid or a parent with a problem, it's for you.
Tired of hearing nothing but bad news? Well, Masters Chiropractic brings you upbeat beat and a little bit of good news for a change.
Last week, the students in Osage organized a culture fair in which each student displays their own ethnic heritage.
My grandpa's in World War II. I have a lot of different things in my family that I never know about.
Upbeat Beat, brought to you by Masters Chiropractic of Mason City. It's time to see a chiropractor.
Mastery.
And I'm Tammy Rapson. Here's what's coming up tonight on Eyewitness News at 6 and 10.
Can you be paid if you don't smoke?
Well, Don Abrahamson will tell us about one area company that is willing to pay you to stay healthy.
Also, Scott Munsell examines the problems caused by trying to look cool in part 2 of his special reports, Looking Cool in School.
And in sports, the state high school wrestling tournament kicks off. Gary will have highlights of some of the local grapplers at stake.
And Monty is a jazzerciser. Join us at 6 and 10.
KIMT, Mason City.
And now part 2 of As the World Turns.
Jade, are you saying somebody tried... He's in the bedroom on the phone. Are you saying somebody tried to kill me?
That's exactly what I'm saying. I was so afraid they succeeded when Gavin wouldn't tell me how to reach you.
Wait a minute. I don't understand. I got orders from the boss himself to fly to Toronto in the middle of the night. But where have you been? He said he didn't know where to reach you.
For once, he was telling the truth. He'd spend the night at Barbara's so I could come back here and pack my things. But when I called the front desk to check, they told me that you were here with him. So I had to come warn you. Now we've got to get out of here.
Wait, Jade, wait a second. Calm down. I can't just walk out. Gavin was about to offer me a significant promotion. He was going to talk to me about it as soon as he got off the phone.
Sean, there are a lot of things I have to tell you, but not here. Now, please, we've got to get out of here before Gavin finds me.
Listen, I'm sorry that...
Karen said that her husband told her that Arthur was working on the kidnapping scheme with someone very rich, very powerful. Was it Gavin Kruger?
Why would he be mixed up in a kidnapping? I mean, a share of the ransom would be peanuts to a guy like that.
So Jason Benedict called, said that Hal overheard the Harpers talking about some debt that Gavin owed.
We both know how the Harpers collect debt.
Karen, I swear, I never told Shorty about the kidnapping. And I had nothing to do with his murder.
Who else would want my husband dead?
Come on, we both know he was mixed up with some very shady people. I'm sure it was no coincidence that he was murdered shortly after Frank Wendell.
Billy, were you working at Shorty's bar that night that Frankie was killed?
I don't remember. Why?
Well, because we believe Frank had Carolyn Crawford's journal. And he had set up a meeting to sell it to somebody in the back room of the bar that night. We also believe that whoever murdered Frank wanted that journal.
So, Billy, ever hear anything about that meeting or the journal?
No.
Are you sure?
Yeah. Yeah, I'd remember that, because I knew from Dana it was the one thing taken in the robbery that Mr. Crawford wanted back. I never understood why anybody would want that.
Well, I can think of a couple people who might. Gavin Kruger, Arthur Claiborne.
That reminds me. Any news on Claiborne's condition?
What's she talking about?
He was stabbed in prison tonight.
Who did it?
We don't know. He didn't see him. But my guess is he was on the same payroll as the guy who shot Frankie, and Shorty tried to kill you, Billy. And guess what, Karen? You're next on the list.
Why would anybody want me dead?
Well, because you claim your husband didn't tell you anything, but the killer doesn't know that. And my guess is he's going to make sure that anybody with information about the Crawford case doesn't talk.
Carolyn Crawford, found murdered following a break-in at family residence, 43 Exeter Road on April 15th, 1991. Approximate time of death, 8 p.m. Sorry about losing Arthur like that. I just can't...
It's all right. I've been wondering for a long time if I was right to trust Arthur, just because we grew up together.
What do you mean?
He's changed. Ever since he had that mental breakdown. That's why I told him that he had to leave. I told him that I wasn't sure we could ever be friends again, but I want you to let me handle this from here on in. I love the way you're so protective, but I know what happens when someone threatens a person that you love. You have that violent streak in you.
Like that night I came home and found you here with Gavin Kruger.
I don't want to talk about that.
Yeah, well, I can't forgive Gavin Kruger for what he did, coming onto you while my back was turned. I mean, you're an extremely attractive woman. I can understand that. I mean, I found you attractive the first time I met you. But, I mean, women to a guy like Kruger are just a challenge, He sees a wedding ring. It means nothing to a guy like that.
Well, I think that there was more to his advances than just...
Wait a second. Advances? You said advances. I mean, more than one time, right?
Yes, but I don't want you to get upset about it. That's why I didn't tell you about that before. Yes, at one time, there were flowers, there were letters.
Letters? Oh, he stopped by just to visit, huh? Well, maybe I'll just pay him a visit, huh? Maybe I'll just...
Gerald, please! There has been enough violence. I just want us to concentrate on all the things that we have to be grateful for. Like Dana carrying our baby. The fact that you and I have been able to be so honest with each other about Franny. And that how much we love each other. Despite everything that's happened, we have a wonderful marriage to live for. Sorry it took me so long with the coffee, honey, but what's wrong?
I was thinking about one of the last conversations I had with Carolyn. I guess I sort of plucked it out of my mind. I remember she told me she thought she was on to something between Arthur and Gavin, and I wish she'd come to me instead of going to Philippe. I guess she probably knew I'd go after them both with a shotgun. Hey, there's fresh coffee in the squad room if you
Thanks,
want.
Murphy. I just got some. Thanks.
Murphy? Yes? Yes, she is. Hold on a second. Mrs. Crawford, it's Gavin Kruger for you.
Hello?
Franny, it's important that I get a hold of Sean. Is he there with you?
No, he's not. He left here over an hour ago. I thought he was going to see you.
Oh, well, he's not here yet.
Well, I hope nothing is wrong.
No, it's just I need to discuss a new assignment with him as soon as possible.
So I saw this detergent with bleach alternative, and I wondered how it compared to my Clorox 2 on colored loads. So I pulled out the twins' dirty shirts. I washed this one in detergent with bleach alternative, and this one in Clorox 2 and my regular detergent. And look, the shirt washed in Clorox 2 is cleaner and brighter. I think I'll stay with my Clorox 2. Clorox 2 Color Safe Bleach. Gets clothes clean and bright.
Bing, bang, boom. We're out of here.
Hold on, Mr. Rushing out the door. You haven't had your breakfast yet.
No,
Oh, I know. Tick, tick, tick. Look, you got time for Kellogg's Pop-Tarts. That's my boy. Now you're cooking. Look, strawberry, your favorite. Now, doesn't that hit the spot, kiddo?
Mm-hmm. Kellogg's Pop-Tarts. Real good, real fast.
See? That didn't take long. Now, don't forget your homework.
Introducing Maxwell House Light. It tastes as rich as Maxwell House coffee, but only has half the caffeine. So rich, you'll just think of it as Maxwell House. New Maxwell House Light. All the rich taste, half the caffeine.
In daily combat with dirt and germs, enlist Soft Soap antibacterial moisturizing soap. Tough enough to kill germs. Gentle enough to be called Soft Soap. Now available in extra conditioning formula.
What's wrong?
After that, I mean, I'm just right in the next room, and these walls are paper thin.
Which is a very sound sleeper.
I just feel a little self-conscious. Besides, I'm tired, and I have to get up in the morning.
Okay, and how about a good night kiss? He's not gonna hear that.
No. Good night. Now, maybe you'll think twice about inviting your brother over to spend the night.
Margot, the box put on the phone, so if the man who was pretending to be Hal calls back, we can get his number.
Yeah, I understand that, but why did they have to use my phone?
Because if we had the box downstairs, friends or family would see it, and we can't let them know that Hal's working undercover.
Right.
Well, you better get some sleep.
You know, I feel so much better after telling you the truth about Paul. And right now, I want to be honest with you about everything.
I want that too, Tess.
I know that you probably can't trust me just yet, but maybe this will convince you that you can. When I first came to Oakdale, I overheard something about Uncle Hallie, and I haven't told anyone, not a single soul.
What did you hear?
That Uncle Hallie's not really Jenny Lou's daddy, and that's why he left.
I have no real proof of what I told you. But when I was on the phone with Gavin a few days ago, I asked him again why those dates in April were so important. After he hung up on me, the pieces started falling into place. Take a look at this.
DeWitt, Harris, murdered. Look, Jade, I know that Gavin is ruthless in business, but I can't believe he had anything to do with this.
Sean, you know as well as I, Gavin would do anything to save his company. You may not be aware of this, but Kruger Industries was in very deep trouble then. He was trying to take over DeWitt.
So the rumors were true, but how would killing Carolyn Crawford...
Think about it. Her murder would create negative publicity, and that would make DeWitt more vulnerable to a hostile takeover.
Jade, if that's true, why didn't it succeed?
Probably because he overestimated Arthur Claiborne and underestimated Darryl. You must have heard that Claiborne was sent to prison for his part in kidnapping the surrogate who was carrying the Crawford baby.
Yeah, and I also heard that Claiborne was stabbed in prison earlier tonight.
My lord, I just remembered something Gavin said when I pressed him about you.
What?
Said the last person to give Gavin an ultimatum was Arthur. And look what happened to him. Oh, Sean, you have got to go to the police and tell them that you were with me in Hawaii last April, not Gavin.
But Gavin made a point earlier of telling me not to.
That just proves I'm right. I'm sure that accident you had was meant to guarantee your silence. That's why you've got to tell the police the truth before Gavin can arrange another accident.
This woman's in bed with a terrible cold, keeping her from all she has to do. None of us want to be stuck with a bed cold. Stubborn congestion, constantly runny noses, rising fevers, aching bodies. But we don't have to give in to a bed cold. There's Benadryl Plus Cold. Benadryl is a name that stands for strength. Strength you can count on to help get you out of bed. Day or night, there's Benadryl Plus Cold. The Benadryl's strong enough for the bed cold.
TV Guide has hidden $100,000 in somebody's Sunday newspaper. All you have to do is find it. Look for the Don't Watch TV in the Dark game in the coupon section of your Sunday paper. Then use the decoder in this issue of TV Guide to see if you've won. Now, who says there's nothing but bad news in the paper? TV Guide. Don't watch TV in the dark.
You liquid detergents need my help with these dirty, smelly socks.
What?
I'll wash one in detergent, the other in detergent, plus Arm & Hammer baking soda to clean and deodorize. See? Mine's cleaner. Smells fresher, too. Half a cup is all you need.
Now, every time you buy any Orville Redenbacher's product, we'll make a donation to the U.S. volleyball team as they go for the gold in Barcelona. It takes a lot of dedication to be the best. As Grandpa always says, do one thing and do it better than anyone.
Saturday, Saturday night, satin all around you. One rich coat, year to year, always seems brand new. Satin wall, satin doll, change your point of view. Why see the world in black and white when you can have an ultra satin view?
New Ultra Satin, the art of fine paint, exclusively at True Value hardware stores and home centers.
Okay, Tom, what's he doing?
We asked him to come by to clear up some questions that Karen raised. He wanted to find out how Dana was doing before we take him back to the safe house. Listen, why don't you guys go home, get some sleep? I guarantee I'll call if there's any news.
Tommy, I don't know if this has anything to do with the investigation or not, but Gavin called here a while ago.
So what do you want?
Well, it was kind of weird. Sean left here over an hour ago to see him, and Gavin said he hadn't shown up yet. He seemed pretty upset about it, said he had a new assignment for Sean and needed to speak to him right away.
I just can't believe I'm in any danger.
Karen, look, the only reason you're alive today is because you had the good sense to go into hiding when your husband was murdered.
I agree. I think we should do the same with you as we've done with Billy. Put you in protective custody until this case is solved.
Yeah, and what do I have to do in return?
Just tell us the truth.
This is the best our artist could do with your description, Mrs. Martell. Is that a good likeness of the man you saw that night?
Yeah, that's how I remember him, but like I said, I didn't get a good look.
Man, this could be almost anyone.
I want you to try to think back to that night. Now, is there anything else you remember about the man?
Wait a minute. I do remember asking who he was, and that's where I heard that name before. Stewart. Fred Stewart.
No, you mean George Stewart.
That's it. His name was George Stewart. I knew it rang a bell.
Doctors have prescribed Monistat for years. It's what I used whenever I had a yeast infection. Monistat is a name you trust.
But recently I've seen other products in the store, and I wanted to double check. So I called my doctor. My doctor said Monistat is still the right cure for me. That's all I had to hear.
For years, doctors have prescribed Monistat 7 nearly 4-to-1 over the next competitor's product.
Monistat works. It's the cure I trust.
Trust the cure you know. Monistat 7.
There was some cough. My chest was so congested that every time I coughed, it felt like it was going to cave in. My extra strength cough syrup did nothing for my chest. Finally, I get Vicks Formula 44E. It's E for expectorant, something new. Much better than my other stuff, because it helped clear up my chest. I had a million things to do. Without that medicine, I wouldn't have made it.
Vicks Formula 44, the best type of relief for every type of cough.
Be my little baby.
Introducing Mini Oreo.
Say you'll be my darling. Be my baby now.
New Mini Oreo. Lifesavers holes. Looks like they're getting carried away. The huge taste of Lifesavers candy in tiny, delicious little bites. Lifesavers Holes candy. Get what you've been missing.
Alfred, Sean told me a little bit about the accident, but I want a full report faxed to me by the morning, and I don't care if you have to stay up all night to get it to me. I will not let this fall apart now, not after so much careful planning. I want to apologize for being so short with you last night. I was taken back by Margot demanding the records from the Hawaiian trip last April.
Evan, I really could field questions better for you if I understood why you want people thinking you were with me.
Carolyn, I certainly didn't expect to see you answer the door.
His servants are off, but if I'd known it was you at the door, I never would have answered it, so please leave now.
Actually, I think we should talk about some things.
You and I have nothing in this world to talk about. And if Daryl came home and found you here, there's no telling what he
You know, I've heard stories about this violent side of Daryl's nature.
He's very protective of the people that he loves. As a matter of fact, he just threw out your friend Arthur Claiborne last night from this house.
Well, now, where on earth did you get the idea that Arthur Claiborne was a friend of mine?
I got a very strange phone call from a friend at DeWitt, who said that you and Arthur Claiborne were part of a plan to take over the company just after Daryl and I were married, and he became CEO.
No, that's one of the most ridiculous things I've ever heard.
Well, I did some checking up on that, and I plan to do more. But the caller also said that Kruger Industries was in very shaky financial condition at about that time due to the losses of the South Korean division, and that you had to borrow over $100 million to keep the company afloat.
Oh, that's just a pack of lies circulated by my competitors.
Really? Well, I might not have believed it. But then I remembered that was just about the time that you started sending me little white roses in Des Moines and writing me letters. You even propositioned me one night. When I have the proof I'm after, I will see both you and Arthur Claiborne in prison on insider trading. Now get out of here.
I'm sorry that my attempt at an apology turned into something unpleasant. I'll see myself out.
Good. And don't ever come back here. I plan to turn on the security system the minute you leave.
Carolyn, you needn't worry.
One final thing, Gavin. I had an anonymous phone call yesterday from someone who said that you were also responsible for the break-in at my family home in Des Moines, the one that was responsible for my father's heart attack. I plan to check on that further, too. Now get out of here, and don't ever let me see your face here again. If I do see you, I will tell.
Sweetie pie, Mommy's sorry that you had a bad dream. I had a bad dream, too. I'm going to do everything I can to make sure that it doesn't come true. This was Hal's favorite room, you know that? Oh, there's so many wonderful memories here. And no matter what, you'll always think of him as your dad.
wish you were.
I heard Jamie crying.
Oh, she's okay. I'm just going to sit up with her until she's ready to go back to bed.
Yeah.
Just thank you for not pressing me about Jennifer's father.
Well, I got the feeling you didn't really want to talk about it. Besides, you'll have a daddy soon enough when you marry Gavin. You want me to put another log on the fire? Okay. Hey, Robert, that's Gavin's ring that he gave you.
Okay, let's get out of here. There's nothing more we can do tonight.
Damn it, Tom, we're so close. If we could just find some way to connect Gavin and George Stewart, then we could have... What are you doing back here?
I got something to tell you. It could be important. Could also cost me my job.
What?
It's about those receipts that I faxed to Jade about the trip to Hawaii in April.
We talked to some of Gavin's business associates. They confirmed that he was there from April 13th through 17th.
But then they lied. Gavin wasn't in Hawaii with Jade on those dates. I was.
I need a laxative that can work dependably.
Doxadan can.
But can it be gentle?
Doxadan can. Doxadan works dependably overnight with a special ingredient for gentle relief.
Dependable? Yes. Gentle? Yes.
Doxadan can. When you're congested, it's like your nose takes over. You can't breathe. You can't sleep. You need Afrin. Afrin works fast because while the leading cold tablet travels throughout your system, Afrin goes right to the problem, right to your nose. That's why Afrin, the nasal spray most recommended by doctors and pharmacists, works 4 times faster than the leading cold tablet and relieves congestion in less than 5 minutes. Afrin, because you shouldn't have to wait to breathe. Can your toothbrush stand up to a dental examination? The Colgate Plus toothbrush can. Its diamond-shaped head fits your whole mouth. Helps clean away bacterial plaque even way, way back. Colgate Plus, because your smile was meant to last a lifetime.
You know, we hardly even advertise this stuff, and people are buying an awful lot of it. What attracted you to it in the first place?
Well, Healthy Sensation attracted me right away because the name is great because it describes the dressing. My whole family loved the taste.
They see these little things right here, these little bits?
Yeah. There's chopped parsley and an onion, and it tastes sensational.
So Healthy Sensation is a good name.
It's a great name.
It's a better name than if we called it like Ed. Introducing new Healthy Sensation salad dressing. The name says it all.
A doctor whose bedside manner could be the death of him.
He broke her heart, so she put a scalpel through his.
Can Rita and Chris cure a terminal case of silk stockings tonight? A case of the disappearing body.
Apparently there's been some mistake.
A man has been murdered in this hotel.
Mrs. Fletcher is becoming a problem.
Could she be next? Murder, She Wrote, then, based on the shocking true story.
You can't lay this divorce on me and then ignore me!
The obsession to keep her family turns deadly. A Woman Scorned, the Betty Broderick story, Sunday.
Stay tuned for Guiding Light. Next on most of these CBS stations. Children's Clothes by Goodlad of Philadelphia. Join us tomorrow for the Emmy Award-winning As the World Turns.